Okay. Welcome, everybody. Join me. Thank you for joining me on the Shadow Chasing Show. I'm your host, Dark West Guy Cloud. And we are having some pretty crazy things happening to us lately. All of us, I'm sure, every one of you that have been dealing with all kinds of things across the land. Yeah. And I find it interesting that, hang on a second, something didn't go through. My hair. Okay. Didn't pull it over. There we go. Got it. Okay. Got to figure out. Didn't put my hairband on right. So, yeah. So we got some pretty interesting things going on this week, and we're looking at let's see. The stories are going to be very important information, and that is M.A.I.D made. I wanted to bring up some of this regarding what's happening here in Canada, as well as the U.S. and other parts of the world, but here in Canada first. Our Liberal government is actually trying so hard to have M.A.I.D as one of the major, I could say major faction to control the masses. And just stop there for a moment. There we go. And what they're trying to do is basically having to make you feel that you should feel, I could say, unalive yourself. Now, here's the thing. I want to let you guys know what's going on with the M.A.I.D program. What they had been trying to do. This whole thing began really back in 2019, just when COVID had begun. Okay, we can say the word now because everyone knows the story. You can't just algorithm it and say you can't talk about it. But when COVID began here in Canada, Justin Trudeau was actually decided to put on a program to have people make phone calls to people's homes and ask them if they would ever consider wanting to unalive themselves if they feel depressed. Okay. And this is one of their practices they've been doing. I guess we say they've been doing this on the phone surveys for a long, long time now. A lot of people did not want to answer. Other people actually did give answers. So during the lockdown of 2020, they were phoning people and asking if they want to consider unaliving themselves, or would they prefer to hold out, not having the virus, or even to have the, you know what, in the arm. So they were doing these surveys, but in the meantime, they were putting in some key words to make you feel very depressed. Would you consider, they would say, would you consider? Now, why I'm saying this is because I'm going to show you guys down in the next few minutes some of the videos that people were receiving the phone calls from our federal government, and they were saying, would you consider unaliving yourself? Now, why would they say that to you? Well, number one, we need to remember, folks, this actually was a depopulation program, okay? That's the reason why they wanted to get you complete. They kept on brain training you for the next, I would say, month, 30 days on the television, on the radio, every piece of media you can think of, to basically brain train you, brainwash you, make you believe that the CV-19 was the most horriblest, fearful emission spread in there into your face, fear mongering to scare you to the point of, oh my God, I gotta hide this. Oh my God, don't look at me. Oh my God, don't breathe on me. Oh my God, don't even look at me. You'll spray my face. They got everyone all worked up to the point of depression. Now, did everybody else pardon me, did everybody line up to get their jab? No. Not everybody believed it. We need to remember, folks, the original call for people to line up was called coronavirus. It was not called COVID-19. So Bill Gates, hang on a second here. Bill Gates had to redesign the program. Both him and Fauci had to redesign the program to make it where you have fear of any cold or flu, and they had to use the word virus. Okay, so what the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and Bill Gates had done is they actually registered and patented the name COVID-19. When they registered and patented, yes, folks, there's a patent. They patented it. If you guys did not know that, yes, it's a patent. Yes, those are in the chat room. Thank you for joining us. Those in YouTube as well as Facebook. Yes, the word COVID-19 was patented by Bill Gates and also by the Rothschilds. I've seen the copies of the patents. Now, why would they patent a name COVID-19? It's because anytime every doctor, and they made a proposal to all the medical doctors and nurses and said, if you sign the name COVID-19 on the death certificate of every individual that comes into the hospital, whenever they pass away, you sign it COVID-19, every doctor would get paid $18,000 per person. Even if you're in a car accident, right? That's what they would do. So here's what their plan was. Their plan was to make money from us, make money from death, make money from you name it. That's exactly what this was, a depopulation program. Okay. And I knew about this from the very beginning a long time ago. So now this has been going on for quite a while. Now, what they decided to do, well, knowingly, people are no longer afraid of the COVID-19. That's gone. Okay, 5 years has gone by. But during that time, they decided to bring in and talk about the M.A.I.D. They want to talk about M.A.I.D. Now, I find that word insulting. Why? Because I feel bad for the people who own companies that have maid services. And that's been going on for years, absolutely years. When you go to a hotel, you call for a maid, come to your room, you call for you want to call a company that want to clean your house, their maid service, right? You can't use that word no more because what happened was they patented the name. So anybody who's got a name that says maid on it, they have to remove it. It has to be a different kind of service. They can't call themselves maid anymore because our Canadian government owns the copyright. M.A.I.D. So this is what they have been doing. Okay. Now, when they decide to do this, then they're making phone calls to individuals during the COVID-19 and asking them would they consider unaliving themselves. Okay. No one wanted to do that. We already know that. But during the vaccinations, when they were getting them, people don't realize this. There's a side effect in the first injection. Brain fog. What's a brain fog for? Brain fogging, and they said the side effect is brain fog because to shut down the pineal gland. When you shut down the pineal gland, you lose your emotion, you lose your feelings. You begin to feel like you're not there. And you lose almost, I would say, you lose your ha-ha. And it becomes disheartening. People don't like that feeling because they say, well, I've never felt being brain fog before. I can't think for myself. This is a lot of people say, I can't think. It's because of that. Okay. Now, the more interesting part of this is that their intention of depopulation is first the COVID-19 vaccination. Its intentional effects is the calcification of the pineal gland. Why? Because when they can control the mind through television, okay, that's why folks are saying that they felt their brain fogging after the first injection. Nobody's ever felt brain fog after any other injection before. I never felt brain fogging when I was getting some other types of shots, say for if I had a cold or a flu of some sort, and not cold flu, but if I had um, I stabbed myself. I remember shoot myself in the hand with a nailer one time years ago, and I get a tetanus shot. I didn't have a brain fog. So it depends. Like I always tell people, make sure you know what the side effects are when you get in these injections. Anyways, let's go further here. So they talk about brain. I remember people telling me they've always had, a lot of people had brain fog, or even close to the point. Even I've seen people actually, young boys, young girls, sitting in a chair at some of the buildings that I've been to, observing them from outside, and they're after injection, they're gone. They leave, they're gone, and next you know, the ambulance comes in. I've never seen so many ambulance services come in after the injections, picking up the bodies, at least 20 in one day. And they're saying, oh, well, that's COVID-19. No, it wasn't. They were healthy before they got there. So let's go there more. Let's go further. The second, the more rage becomes, now the second injection was, and this has actually been what has happened is that there's actually folks right now, they're doctors and scientists, are looking at the side effects right now. They're checking on to people. They're noticing there's a lot of major side effects from the injections. Now the second injection, what it does, it causes more shutting down. Body can't move, almost paralysis, skin conditions, breakouts, anger, frustration, rage, which basically become awake. Basically, you're angry. You don't know why, and yet you're trying to hide or think, okay, well, that's just maybe it's just my thinking. That's what people say. Well, maybe it's just imagining it. No, anytime you're injected with something, folks, there's always going to be a side effect of something. But these were called experimental drugs. Okay. So, anyways, the thing is, the COVID jabs were there specifically to do more harm to your happiness and living, and which the intention was to hate, basically, either hate yourself, hate the world, hate anything and everything, because you become so frustrated because you've been locked up in your house, or basically locking your self in a house for such a long time. You become so quarantined. Okay, you quarantine yourself so much, and all of a sudden you feel like, well, I got to stay inside. What if? And then if you remember too, folks, on TV they'll always say, stay 6 feet apart, or they'll say be careful or stay safe. They're using these key words to put the fear in your subconscious. Okay, the fear in your subconscious. This is what it's about. That's what they were doing all this time. Now, let me give you an update on this. Why did this happen? Bill Gates said this, and these are called experimental drugs. Don't forget, folks, he said in the very beginning, before all this ever began, him and Dr. Fauci in 2017 said they can hardly wait to start the program of the depopulation of the world, including he did the presentation from the CIA, and they were all for it. I'm not kidding you, folks. This is not something that's oh, well, how do you know? I got videos, proof. After this all happened, Bill Gates said, with us sitting next to his wife, and he said, I'm looking forward to doing stage 2. Second stage, he says, I'm coming for the children. You understand? His work is to depopulate birth. There are no longer any births. His program is to stop the world from making any more people, because he's in control, or want to be in control, to control whatever he thinks he can get away with. Don't forget, folks, this man's a trillionaire. He's an investor. He's not a doctor. His grandfather was a doctor. He's Dr. Gates. He was the one that invented the Spanish flu back in 1918. Okay. And Bill Gates took his leading idea and made it happen. So if you look at some of the old history of 1918 Spanish flu, you see some of the old photographs, same thing. People had to wear masks 6 feet apart. If they weren't allowed, if you weren't wearing a mask, you would go to jail. They were serious back then. But yet the rich people who were very, very rich did not have to wear a mask. And the same thing here, exemption even happened here. Anybody who's very rich didn't have to wear a mask. Anybody who's, or all your politicians did not have to get vaccinated, because they themselves said they were what? Exempt. Why? Not one politician, hardly any politician on the liberal side ever got vaccinated. I would say none. Most of them never did. Now, there we have doctors and nurses that said they're not going to get vaccinated. Some actually didn't do it. In the meantime, they lost their jobs. They were forced to quit, or they get fired, and then they were no longer allowed to practice medicine. Most of them actually left Canada and moved elsewhere, and now they're still doing their doctoring, but they're doctoring somewhere else in that part of the world. And yet the Canadian government is trying to pull their license so they can't do any doctoring anywhere else. They couldn't do it. You can't try to find someone and stop them from what they're doing. Now I'm leading you into the story about what happened in the past, right? But what I'm showing you here, there is actually the healant in this, where if you did get 1 or 2 or 3, there is the CURE for all of this. You can actually fix that and cleanse it, because basically what you can do is do a heavy metals cleansing, and it forces all the nanobites out of your body. Those nanobites that are placed into those needles into your arm are not their tracking systems. They're messing with your brain. They're messing with your heart, messing with everything. Okay. So when I tell people what you can do about it is do a heavy metal cleansing as a start. Okay. Second of all, go forget, folks, people do, and there were people that were vaccinated. Sometimes their sickness that's vaccinated, and sometimes they can actually speak through you, get close to you. Sometimes you're feeling kind of sickly, thinking, wait a minute here, I never was vaccinated. How come I'm sick? I'm getting sick from that person who actually was vaccinated. You're not really getting sick, but you're feeling their symptoms because it's coming off them. Okay. But anyone who's never been vaccinated are the healthiest. It wouldn't hurt to even do heavy metal cleansing for yourself that actually were never vaccinated. Do a heavy metal cleansing just because. Humor yourself. Okay. I'm 70 years old. I should be sickly, but I'm not, because I never did it to myself. I never did. None. Because Spirit said to me, don't do it. And when did it say it to me? A long time ago. They said it'll come a time in 1989. There'll come a time in the future, and by 2020, 2019, 2020, they're going to tell you about having to line up and get the vaccination, or a vaccination. And they'll say they're going to try to do the whole world. Now, most of the people that had passed away, we lost over 2 billion people in the world, but not from the COVID. It came from the vaccinations. It was proven because every funeral home, people that do the work in the funeral homes, they're the ones that are telling you, oh my God, can't believe it. All I see is nothing but hardened arteries, or the blood is so thick you can't even drain the blood, because when they're on the autopsy doing the tables, they drain the blood from the body. Every person that works in the funeral home or a coroner, any kind of whoever's responsible, do this. They drain the blood because basically so the body can last longer, to preserve, so you can observe the body during the funeral services. But in the meantime, these ones that were vaccinated, they could not remove the blood. The blood clotted. Everybody clotted blood, had clotted blood. Why? And then not just the odd one, clotted blood, every one of them. When they came to doing the cremation, not one part of the intestinal body, where all the veins are, burned. They were strings, never burned. So whatever was in those clotted arteries prevented the fire at 1,300 degrees or more, never burned. It was just a long string. Now, I've been observing a lot of videos, I would say the last 2 years, or maybe more, where this particular one doctor is actually helping people remove these clotted arteries that you're still alive, and they're taking the clots out of you. They're taking the strings out of you, and you go on this machine. Basically, what it really is, it's a blood draining machine that you get fresh blood, and they're showing you what they're doing, and they're saying, "Hey," and the guy said, "Yeah, I was vaccinated," and popped it out, get refreshed blood. Fantastic. Where can you go? Where can that person go? They have these videos available online, whether it's on X or on TikTok. Look it up. They have that available. Okay. So if you're having troubles with your physical self, your body feels like it's aching all the time, you don't know why. It's ever since then. Or you're having joint paining, you don't know why. If you were vaccinated, that's not because it's all the side effects from the jab. Now, let's go further back. Let's go ahead now. I'm bringing this subject up because of M.A.I.D. Now, why would they push M.A.I.D? Okay, this is all to do with the intention of committing suicide. Why would the government be in such a hurry to have us want to commit suicide? Why would they are pushing this so much? They're not pushing it on you because you're sickly, that you can't even help yourself. They're pushing it on people that just want to not live anymore. Now, where does that come from? It goes right back to the jabs. After the first one you go through depression. Okay. They said there have been more depressions than even regular deaths. Way more depression. Now, when depression comes in, it's most time when there was ever a depression, it would relate to a world war. Okay. When we had World War I, World War II, a lot of people were very depressed, sad, down, whether they want to join the military or they don't. Money wasn't doing that well. They were very depressed, or they had a hard time living. Some people gave up their life and the others did not. If they're living in a third world country and if they felt they could not taking care of themselves, they would do harm to themselves and leave this world. But none of that was actually able to do with jabs. It was showing you the scare tactic of you have nowhere to go but here. And, the thing is that people don't realize that their intention 2030 was to remove us off this earth. They wanted to get rid of 17 million more people in one country. out. Bill Gates's goal was to take out 8 billion in the world by 2020 by 2030. By 2050, he figured even half that more. So basically, his belief was no more than 550,000 people living on this earth. That was it. The man is nuts. Now, people are asking me, well, then how come he's not gone? How come nobody's ever bothered taking him out? They did. They took out the first Bill Gates in 2010. He was actually hung and executed in India. The real president leader of India, 2010. Both they took him out. Both him and his wife. They hung him in the middle of their square of their city for crimes against humanity because of the fake polio, which basically dismembered people. Okay, over 150,000 people in India, women and children. Then the same thing he did in Africa. He was up in Africa first, and he actually crippled over 450,000 women and children with the fake polio. I'm not kidding you, folks. This was his goal. This man's been doing this for a long, long time. Now, how come there's so many Bill Gates? Then how come one's taking out another Bill Gates is back? Because there's somebody above him who's paying to replace him, to keep this Bill Gates going. So there's always a new actor, new actor, new actor. What I understood from my intel, they've already taken out 5 Bill Gates in Gitmo. I'm not kidding you guys. So back in 2000, well, no, the first one was taken out in 2010, Catherine, not 13, 2010, first time. I was actually on the True website, and then they removed that website and they changed it. Okay. What about Bonnie Henry? She worked with Bill Gates in India. Yes, she did. She was also taken out a long time ago as well. She was paid over $1.5 million when we're on lockdown. That was 2020, 2021. She was replaced by an actress to take her role. This actress actually was wearing a mask to play her, wearing a voice modulator. I've watched it happen on TV when you guys may not have seen it. The real Bonnie Henry was taken away. She was taken away. She was out. Most of you may not know, Bonnie Henry actually was ex-military. So what happened, and she really was not really a doctor, by the way. She was like a psychologist doctor, a psychiatrist doctor, not a real doctor. So when I saw her on TV, she was saying some words on the panel, and suddenly she went, well, I don't agree. All of a sudden, she grabbed her neck like this, and she looked to the right like this, and the guy said, oh, just a minute, I'll fix that. He adjusted the volume of her voice, and then he said, okay, let your hand go, and he brought her voice box back. Okay, her voice box back. So that was not the real Bonnie Henry, a voice modulator, because she grabbed her neck over here. It was under her mask. And you'll see a little cut in here. That was her mask. Okay, whoever played her, and that was 2022, around 2022, 23. That's the last time, I'll say 2022. That was the end of the year, around November, December. And I got that video on as well. So you'll see a lot of times where they'll have already filmed the people. I've got all kinds of stuff. I've been filming from the very beginning when this whole thing started. They were filming people before they even went live on television. They had their masks off, and they're sitting down there chatting and touching each other and having a great time. Blah, 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 blah. And this guy said, okay, we're going to start now. They put the masks on. On comes the camera, doing their thing. Then they take the mask off again. Okay. I'm sure you guys have seen that. Every politician, anyone who was getting paid, whether you're a nurse or doctor or MP, and if you got paid, you knew. And I'm pointing out this out to all of you MPs, okay, and that's including Carney, because he was part of this. You guys may not know this. He was part of this. So Carney was in England when this all happened. Now, he was the world banker. Now, what you guys may not know, and I didn't say anything about this before because I wanted to get enough proof to prove it. Prince Andrew, remember him? How he got himself in trouble. Now he got arrested, blah, blah, blah. And now he's no longer part of the royal family. He got ousted. Well, he's the fall guy. He's the fall guy. Prince Andrew is mild compared to who the real people were that done some major destruction of going after the children as well as young girls. And that was Chucky. Okay? Especially boys. He likes little boys. But anyways, they used Prince Andrew as the fall guy. But who was at the party? There's a list. There's an invitational list of people at the party. Those actually already came into the building. Those are actually partying with the girls behind the doorway in the big, huge playroom. And guess who was there? Mark Carney. With all these little girls. Yeah. And including Epstein Island, he was there on the flight list 69 times. Not 6 times, not 9 times. And this is not a joke, folks. He was there 69 times on the flight. Back and forth to Epstein Island. Why? Because he's personal close friends of Jeffrey Epstein, has always been. And because, don't forget, folks, he was a real banker. He gave Epstein money, whatever he needed. He helped help Epstein get him where he needed to be. Okay? Carney is not who you think he is, folks. He came here to destruct Canada. He came here to downsize us, to take control, to see what he can do to get away with it. He's done it before in England. He bankrupted England purposely because that's his role. He's an investor. He's like Gates. He's a multi-billionaire. He's like Gates. He invests in destruction. And he enjoys seeing you suffer because this man is not a Christian, never was a Christian. He's a major, major bad boy. Okay? He loves the darkness. Why do you think he likes to wear, when he did his election, why did he wear red? And why did he do this on his head when he was there? Okay. And why did he smile? Because he enjoyed it, doing with the fingers above his forehead. That was the mark of the devil, folks. And you guys missed that. That's what they do. They make the mark of, they actually do the sign of the devil. He was there specifically. And his wife even said, okay, of course, Peter Nygaard trained him. And Peter Nygaard was, oh, he's bad too. Holy crap. Major bad. That man lived in Manitoba, and he did some major damage there. I'm from Manitoba, and I've heard so much bad stuff about him. Sure, he was into the clothing industry and sports and whatever you have, but he was not a good guy. People thought, oh, well, he used people for what he wanted, and he was a controller. Okay? Well, here's the thing. Now people say, well, what can we do? It's not what you can do. I wanted to inform you what's going on so that you can know and see, because as I'm telling you, giving you the story, you're going to start seeing more of the exposure. I'm showing you, folks, that what Carney has to do, he has to expose himself. If you look at my banner, my flyer on the wall, okay, you'll see the symbol of the CPP, our Canadian pension, okay? What that man had done, he took our money, and he intentionally said it out loud. He's gonna take our CPP and invest it $1 trillion. no, $2 trillion, and invested in the Arab Emirates program. Arab Emirates program. Where? Saudi Arabia. Our money that we put in, it went over there. All these things you see on my screen, here, let me bring this up on the wall. You guys can see. Okay. You will see. Okay. These are exposing, showing you the truth, what's going on. Now, you see the coding of the V. Okay. Remember that movie? People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. And that's exactly true. You see people like us, and you'll see the digital army, digital soldiers division. That's who I am. I have been given that right. I have that shield. I wear that shield proudly. That was sent to me by very important people. So, and I'm just a little guy here. I'm just the messenger. But I'm not here to depress the world. I'm here to inform you what's going on. So then you're not going to say, "Oh my God, I didn't know that," because I'm sure a lot of you right now saying, "Oh, I should have known. I should have known. I should have known." Yes, we all should have known. Yeah. Oh, Phyllis, you grew up in Winnipeg. Good. Thank you very much. Winnipegger. Yay. Yeah. So now. I'm gonna give you a little bit of informant too. I'll give you some of the stories here, Phyllis. This is gonna surprise you. Now Winnipeg well. Do you remember there's an area, I think it's 3rd and 5th. Remember downtown Winnipeg? There's that one breezeway as you're going around the corner. I think it's 3rd and 5th, just across the street from the Hudson's Bay, or HBC, across from the Hudson's Bay store. Remember that one curved corner, and you get a breezeway shooting up from underground. You know what it is? No one would tell you what it is. People say, "Well, it's just a breezeway." It's not. It's a Chinese Communist Party underground submarine base. But you didn't know that. Okay. A Chinese Communist Party submarine base. It was a submarine base. It's been there for freaking years. It was planted there for years. Since I was born. Okay. And yet nobody knew. Now, how do I know? Because I have my military intel. And that's exactly what happened. Now, is that submarine base there now? No, gone. Okay. They took it out. Our commander-in-chief took them out. Boom. Gone. Did you know we had underground tunnels in Winnipeg? Of course we did. Because we used to have, what was Winnipeg famous for? Is brothels. Guess how many brothels in Winnipeg? Over 180 brothels. They were famous for their brothels since I would say, mid 1700s all the way to late 1800s, even more than that. And there's only one hotel left that still has a brothel downtown in Winnipeg. But that was apparently, they call that the red light section, red zone, whatever. And it's a hotel itself. That means that the women cannot come out to the street, but the women can stand out on the balcony and lure the guys in, right? If the guys want to come in there. Just across from the hat shop. Okay, and a really good restaurant down below too, right next to the hat shop. But they've actually in Winnipeg, if you may know, the history in that one, where the judges and the police officers and the lawyers all had underground tunnels out from under their offices including the bankers. Okay, every banker had underground tunnels under the banks that led to the brothels across the street. They didn't have to get out, walk out the front door and cross the street to the brothel. They would take these underground tunnels. Even the judges also had this top of their desk in the judges' chambers, not chambers, but in the courtroom. The top of the lid of the desk would come back this way, and the door would open out back, and they would walk downstairs, and there's an underground tunnel went across the street to the other side of the brothel. Even the judges went there all the time. There was so much corruption with cops, police officers, you name it. It was so bad. Okay. Winnipeg was so bad. Let's talk about Winnipeg. Let's talk about the Golden Boy. Let's talk about the parliamentary building. That is all Freemason, built by the Freemasons. All the symbolism, everything on top of the towers of the parliamentary building is Freemason. You'll also notice a lot of Egyptian hieroglyphics symbols on the top of the where the Golden Boy is, and on top of the area where actually this Egyptian. Like, why would be Egyptian on top of the building itself? There's one room inside the parliamentary building that not even the prime minister is allowed to walk into. It's only for Freemasons only. If you're not Freemason, you can't go in. They have more power than anyone, even police officers. Even a police officer cannot, if say somebody did harm to someone in that room, even a police officer cannot even enter that room. Can't. They'll take you out. They own the cops. Why? Every badge that every police officer wears in Manitoba and or out through Canada, they wore a crown on the badge. The crown is the unicorn and the lion. Now, it used to be a common unicorn, a common lion, but that got changed when it became more satanic. You look at the lion's mouth, the tongue, and the unicorn. Now it's a long red flashing tongue. That's the demon. Okay. They sneak all that in. Okay. Also, in the crown has also these little black and white squares under it. That's a Freemason symbol. Every badge every officer has throughout Canada, whether it's Royal Canadian Mounted Police, even the city police, they still have the 4 little checkers, black and white checkers. That's Freemason. The Freemasons control the police force, which is a corporation, folks. The Freemasons rule or believe they can rule us. They can't. There is the good Freemasons and there's the bad Freemasons. There's 2 kinds, by the way. There's the Christian belief, which is the good guys, and then there's ones that are following the darker side. And they're divided. I know all about that. There's people that I know that are really good guys and ones that are bad guys. You don't have to be 33rd Mason. There's even Freemasons that actually are 45 degrees that I know of. 45 degrees. So they're above others. There's not just 33rd. It goes even higher. But again, this is where people are learning now. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to check the chat room here. People are asking a little bit of a question. Yeah, zeolite, you can take it for shedding others. So anybody's that's shedding, okay, you can take a zeolite. Okay. And I know very well that YouTube's going to say, oh, you can't say that. You can't prescribe, blah, 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 blah. They have no idea what's going on. They have no idea. Okay. There is an executive order, folks, a military executive order under 13848 and 13828. You cannot interfere with this program. Executive order as military code. If you interfere with this program, I'm talking about people that are listening in with the algorithms. If you interfere, you will be subject to being visited by the military. And I'm not kidding you. So sure, we have Canadian laws or the new ones of wanting to be Canadian laws. You know, yeah, there's both good and bad. There's not every Freemason. Like people say, people trying to label all the Freemasons as being evil. No, they're not. I got some good friends that have been Freemasons for years, and they would never harm anybody. In fact, they're there to try to help people. So there's all different kinds of groups. But again, I know there's some groups that I know of that are on the dark side. They follow a different kind of role. You know, when you hear the ones that sacrifice, little ones, as you know what I'm talking about, wah, 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 those are the ones that are the bad ones. But you never see every Freemason do that. No. So again, why I'm bringing this all up, I'm thank you guys. I'm going to really do appreciate I'm able to share that with you, Phyllis, because Not many people know that, especially in Manitoba. I'm surprised, but again, um, I mean, being born in Manitoba, there's so many things that I've seen. I mean, I'll tell people this is one of the most haunted provinces in Canada, majorly haunted in Canada. There's things that I've seen that make your hair stand. I mean, it's one of the most talkative, knocking on walls, knocking on ceilings from spirits that like to talk to you all the time. I mean, I love it when they communicate with me, and I enjoy the conversation back and forth. But I've been talking to spirits since I was a kid, growing up. I'm sure Phyllis has probably too as well. So it's a normal thing for all of us, right? Moving here in BC, it's a little different. The energy is different, which is it was a higher energy. It was very more above the ocean, a lot of water. We're not in the flatlands, but having to move here in the BC region, and I'm much more closer to like say Bellingham, Washington is where I'm mostly close to. But in the area, it's nice. You know, the air is fresher. I have no like, for example, having to live in Manitoba. I had difficulties trying to breathe through my nasal passage. It's so dry there, especially if you summertime is 125, 120, 125, the most hottest ever been for me when I was living there. And but it's so hot, like absolutely just a hot heat. It doesn't go under your skin. It's a hot heat, so you feel it. If you acclimatize yourself, you know what it's like. But when you've been away from it for such a long time, it's different. You know, again, different degrees of levels of altitude. You know, that's what it is. But having to be in BC here, when I got off the plane the first time when I came to here to Vancouver back in '84, and when I got off the plane the first time, and we were docking, and they turned on the air vents, and I could smell the sea air, and I went, I'm home. Like I was it. Sea air, I'm home. I'm not going to look back and, oh, sure, I went back to Winnipeg. No, I don't. I love my family, love my friends, love my relatives, but I'll take this place any day. This is my place. I enjoy it. And also, I like to get very earthy, earthy as in like I wear crystals and stones. I just had a major dream about a week ago, and I started making these. Let me bring this up on the screen easier for you guys. Let me turn that one part off. Hang on. Okay. So you guys can see from the screen. But this is what I've been making. This actually is a stand it's really bright too from the crystals. But this is a crossover crystals, and I actually use abalone chips. And what I do, how I made this, as you can see here in this part here, and I put abalone shell on top of it for energy. So I've been doing a lot of major energy work, and Spirit said start making these stands for the abalone shells, because people always say, oh, I have no place to place it, or it gets too hot, don't want to put it on the counter. So I make these crystal stands, and all of a sudden now it's like that's exactly what goes on, right? Phyllis lives in BC. Good for you. I'm sure how much, let's put it this way, I'm sure you know a big, huge difference between BC and Manitoba. Absolutely, I love in BC. So what region are you a part of BC? Like you're in the Vancouver region, or you're out in the valley? What area? Let me know. Okay, so like I said before, I wanted to share this with you. Now, I want to say some things here that I want to give you guys information, because what's happening right now regarding M.A.I.D. I want to bring to talk a few more minutes about M.A.I.D. What our Canadian government's doing right now, the Liberal government's doing right now, is what they're doing is they are pushing M.A.I.D on a commercial. They actually are making commercials for it, wanting people to go and just take themselves out. And they're saying it's a wonderful thing that they should. I'm not kidding you. They're trying to get people to interview themselves to say, well, it's a wonderful thing. And these are actresses, by the way, actors that play the role. It's a wonderful thing. I should take myself up because I really don't want to live anymore. And I don't think that's really fair for my children, or no fair. It's not fair for any children to be born in this world, blah, 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 blah. I'm not kidding you, right? This is crazy. So Phyllis, if you're in Kamloops and Heidi is in Kamloops, you two need to get connected. If anybody else in Kamloops, get connected with each other, make contact, go for coffee, ladies. Meet up. It's good thing to do. Like-minded. So I want to give you guys a little bit of let me show you some stuff here. This young lady here, who I absolutely, I really do appreciate her. I'm not gonna say her name because you'll find out who she is. She's been doing major research. She's actually a vet. She worked in the, not a vet as in dogs, but she's actually a veteran. She served in the military, and she's been busy doing her research. And I want to share this with you folks. Let me bring the screen up again, so you'll see what I'm going to be bringing in. But what's happening now for M.A.I.D? M.A.I.D actually has offered their services to make partnership with all the funeral homes. Now they're asking for the funeral homes to basically inject the people in the funeral homes while they're laying in their coffin. Really, right? So, and you're going to hear a telephone call, or you can see a telephone call where this young lady actually is asking them, like, yeah, this is going to shock you. Hang on. This is what's going to happen, folks. Here we go.
Hi, Rebecca. I was just wanting to inquire about something really quick. I know it's close to closing time for you, but do you have a second? So I was just, I heard that this was an option, and I just wanted to know, because it sounds kind of crazy to me, so just bear with me. Are you guys able to provide M.A.I.D at your funeral home location?
We are, yeah. And just for context, can I ask your first name?
Kelsey.
Kelsey. Hi, Kelsey and Rebecca. So yes, we do offer our gathering room space for M.A.I.D provisions, and that is regardless of whether the person chooses to use us as the funeral home following the provision. So we can either do a pure rental of the space, and then that person is taken care of by another funeral home following that provision, or if they would like to work with us throughout all of their care, they can receive provision here, and then their body would actually remain on site to be cared for.
Do you guys, do you have a cost breakdown of what that looks like?
Yeah, so in general, the cost for using, actually, let me just get my form here. So the cost for using our gathering room for a M.A.I.D provision is $495.
Okay.
And that is the cost if they are not also using us as the funeral home of choice. If they were using us as the funeral home as well, we can offer that same space for $300.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, thank you. I was just curious. I wanted to do some research on the funeral homes in the area that were providing that. I just wasn't sure. I heard you were doing it, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's a good option for people who don't feel comfortable either at home or at a hospital. There's not too many third-party locations, so that's why we offer that.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
All right, you take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You hear that? They're killing people in funeral homes. Have a good day, guys.
Okay, now, wait, gets better yet.
Children are next. I told you so. It's been in the literature for a long time. Take a look at the date here, 2019. This is not the first time this has been discussed, and it definitely won't be the last, as Canada is slipping. Like Michael Calous said, not just slipping, it's an elevator shaft. And it's the most accurate statement I've ever heard of what M.A.I.D is. We start with the terminally ill, we move to the non-foreseeable, then we go to the mentally ill, and now we're at mature minors. And oh my God, look at that right there. Do you see that doctor's name? Yeah, right there. He's a doctor at Sick Kids Children's Hospital. He was actually the doctor and the head of my girlfriend's daughter's PICU team. A lot to be said about this one. We're about to do an episode on this. I'm going to go drop it here next week. So make sure if you haven't subscribed to the Kelsey Sharon Perspective, you go do it now for the most update info on M.A.I.D going across the globe and how this is going to affect you, your children, and your loved ones. And for those of you who are saying it's not happening, just use your eyes. You can read. See, look at that. It's amazing. It's just amazing when you read, huh? A lot of you guys have sent me this one for a reason. It's because you're catching on to the manipulation. This organization right here, this propaganda arm of the liberal government, forget the liberals, the fact that they're paid by our tax system and our government at all, is pushing and helping you and your loved ones to accept the idea that if you have a mental illness, you should end your life. I remember when I was younger, we used to do things that actually mattered to keep our people alive, but not anymore. Our government, our healthcare providers, our system has completely given up and said we should all just die instead. This isn't even me being emotive. This is the truth. When your own media is trying to slow drip you, don't get it twisted. This is what this is. Slow drip you into accepting the idea that if you have a mental illness, you should end your life. Shame on CTV, shame on this government. It's actually really disgusting to watch. I was really lucky. So Michael Malice called me and he goes, look, I think I need to talk about this publicly because I think it's important that people understand it. And I'm like, well, yeah, you're more people, I guess, like you better than me. And so like, talk about it, please. So he actually went on Joe Rogan. He went on Rogan a couple weeks ago and he goes, you know, he was talking to him and he said, Joe, look, like, do you know about the M.A.I.D program? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, well, but Joe's response was, yeah, but what was wrong with her? Like, why did she need it? Because we don't want someone to suffer. And I agree with Joe. What was wrong where we needed to euthanize them. But where my line is our society cannot be trusted with this because it's euthanizing everybody.
Yeah.
This is not just grandma anymore. And it was funny because Malice pushed back and he goes, right, Joe, because do you remember when we started allowing people to wearing dresses and now we had to affirm their gender? Do you see where that goes?
Right.
Do you see where this goes?
Why can people not see the patterns and stop them before? It's like we're going to sit here, they're going to implement M.A.I.D, it's going to get really bad, and then people are going to realize and fight back. Why not fight back right now before it gets there?
And then I'm going to seem like a lunatic for saying, I told you so, and you didn't listen to the loud lady.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I have empathy, and I agree with what Joe is saying. Nobody should suffer on the end of their life, but we should be giving palliative care and hospice. And
Right.
just for record, it's not, as Joe said, but we put dogs down. It's not the same.
No.
Actually, as putting dogs down. Yeah, this was the clip here. It was not the same. We don't use pentobarbital. We do not use drugs that stop the heart right away. We use a cocktail that's never been studied, never been researched, all created by a doctor who was apparently used to deliver babies, but now had the audacity to create a protocol, sell it to Health Canada, and we can't see the IP.
Right.
So it's like, that's my pushback. It's like, Joe, but I hear you. But we don't euthanize the same way we kill dogs. And it's still killing, killing's killing. But like, again, there's a time and a place for an animal. I've had to put dogs down. It's the worst thing in the world, but it is not the same drugs. It's not the same protocol.
It's just not the same situation.
No.
Even in the slightest. I forgot to bring this up. I should have brought it up earlier. But the other thing is that like 95% of the people killed in Canada are white.
96 and
96.
America's 95.
I think that's an aspect that maybe needs to be talked about too.
I mean, listen, apparently I can't talk about it because I'm white.
It's true.
We had a girl in British Columbia last year, June of 2023, walked into Vancouver hospital. She was suicidal. She was concerned for her own safety. She walked herself in, which is by the way, the right thing to do. She was met by the doctors who told her she couldn't see a psychiatrist for 6 months. 6 months, there was no beds available, no psychiatry. And then she was then sat down while the nurse put her hand on her knee and said, have you heard of M.A.I.D? To a vulnerable person who just expressed that she was suicidal, the nurse then offered her to explain to her what medical assistance in dying was.
You want to kill yourself, we'll help you.
1,000%. This guy, guess the Ontario and Quebec want him.
Right.
But the rest of the nation is collapsing under this ideology, and it's all because of the 65 and plus voters.
Okay.
So the rest of the nation.
I don't think it's only 65.
Tell me what
you don't think young Canadians don't agree with this shit?
Not at this point. Not from what I'm saying.
What number?
Josh.
What number did young Canadians vote for the Liberals in the last election?
Josh,
or the NDP?
I don't have Wi-Fi on here. If you don't mind.
They're not voting for Pierre.
NDP lost their seats.
I know they lost their seats. My point, I'm combining Liberals to
right.
left of center.
Okay.
Get the collection to see how many young people.
Let's
You're
see.
telling me young people in Canada are right of center?
I'm seeing more and more of that.
That's going from 5 to 7 is more and more. I think they absolutely do not. Here, let's see. I'll pull this up. 41%. Click on the link, please.
BBC. So April of
Oh,
2025.
okay. So that, when was the election?
When was the election?
Wasn't it June? Am
I want to say it was in the summer. Yeah, the election day was 60.
Where's the number? Okay,
Here we
support.
go.
So, I was like, wow.
Yeah,
So it's the opposite of America.
this is changing.
That is so crazy.
This is my
So,
point.
so what we're pulling up is
Please.
in this poll ahead of the election. Do we have the actual election results though? In the poll, the conservatives in Canada, who were hardly right wingers,
Right.
had 44, and the liberals had 32,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
People are waking up there, kind of going like, "This is because we can't buy homes, man."
No, but the voting. Aha. See? I was right. They
Yep.
voted 45 liberal, 38 conservative.
You know what's really interesting about our votes, though? Are you guys allowed to bring your voter ballots home?
No.
Yeah, we
I
are.
only have a screen usually.
Yeah, so we don't.
How would you bring it home if you're voting? I don't understand.
Paper.
But if I'm taking the paper, how can you count my ballot?
So we would give. So I went to a bunch of different voting locations.
Sure.
I wanted to hear. People were saying people are doing it in pencil, and they weren't allowing you to do it in pen. So I was like,
Okay.
I want to go check out a few of these
Sure.
locations, and it was true. They were being used. They were using pencil, and then what was happening is the people that were running those locations were allowed to bring the ballot boxes home at night.
Okay.
So I'm wondering about how the votes were actually counted.
Okay.
Let me explain that to you folks, guys. Anybody who actually was responsible for bringing those ballot boxes home, and the reason why those ballots were asking you to use pencil, because they can take them home and take the ballots out, remove the ballots, and re-sign them, re-X them to make sure the liberals win. The scrutineers had broken the federal law. That is illegal. That is prison time. Okay, but people don't know this. They're just dumbass. Don't know the true way of actually doing elections, and this is exactly what Canadians had done. They fell for the bullshit. I'm telling you guys, that's what they did, and because it is actually illegal to take ballot boxes home. In fact, I have video recordings of these people, scrutineers, that took the ballot boxes, and this is not after the election. They took the ballot boxes out after the elective location, and they went out back and they dumped all of the ballots into the dumpster. And you tell me, how come Carney won?
I am genuinely
Okay,
concerned.
I'm going to give you a come to Jesus moment.
Give it to me.
CC.
And I'll also tell you that's how David Eby won too, as NDP. Same way.
EP.
Yeah.
Paper ballots.
Yeah.
COVID, you know what revealed preferences are?
Hmm.
So, like, if I tell you my favorite flavor of ice cream is
Yeah.
strawberry, and every time I go to the store I get chocolate vanilla, it's not really my favorite, although
Right.
I like to say it is.
Yeah.
CCP paper ballots, the Canadian people don't agree with you. And you know how you know this? Because COVID.
Right.
If there was any significant number of Canadians who valued freedom,
It would have been
ha-
then.
what happened to COVID would have been impossible.
Right.
You want to follow Kelsey, and it's worth your while, folks. Now I'm going to show you another one here. This young lady actually was at the SkyTrain in Vancouver, and this was going to show. I'm going to show you something here. It's something you need to see.
Okay, so I live in Surrey, British Columbia, and I just took the train to Granville Street in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Now she's taking the SkyTrain in Vancouver. Watch this. This is her recording. This is what you're seeing on the walls with these posters at the SkyTrain station.
And this is the signs that we have.
So the future is totally bunkers.
At our metro station, the SkyTrain. They're telling us that the future is going to involve hoarding things and bunkers.
Future is robo-maxing. That means we're going to have robotic dogs, okay, chasing you down.
It's going to involve robo-dogs.
Stock evangelism. Future is stock evangelism. It means that there's no way that you're able to even talk about the word God, because now it'll be considered illegal. The name Jesus, our Lord, actually will be no longer allowed to be spoken in public. You're no longer to praise him, and if you are, you're thrown in jail and serve 2 years in prison. That was going to be the law. That law was passed in the UK, and they're trying to bring it to our country in Canada.
It's going to have stock evangelism.
Terraforming, that means grow your own plants in your own home. Basically, that if you think about this, folks, they're trying to keep you in your house, not leave your land. Innovation pilled. And the future is solar harvesting. That means you've been growing your own animals or growing your own, that means everything. Everything from now in some areas, for example, here I live in the region area of Surrey and Vancouver, it's illegal to have chickens on your land. A mayor, not the mayor we have now in Surrey, but the mayor before, 2 mayors before, Diane Watts, passed a law. It's illegal to have chickens on your property. Why? They're not disease carriers because you cannot be self-sufficient. She was part of it.
Solar harvesting and the future.
And look at this one here.
Artificial husband.
And this is the last one I'm laughing about. You can have your own artificial husbands. No longer relationships will be a part of a lifestyle anymore. You'll have your own artificial husband. That means you'll be ordering a dummy. That's your new man or new woman in life. Japan's been doing this already, so is China. Interesting.
Wonderful. I am really looking forward to the future.
I thought I'd share that little bit comical story with you guys, but I mean, I'm telling you, we're going through these phases of craziness is happening everywhere. Sorry, Corlin, if you are saying I'm not well, I don't mean to make you feel sickly, but this is where I'm trying to show you to be aware we're trying to stop this actually from happening. Now, something else Bill Gates has tried to bring up or wanting to no, I don't want that one. Thank you very much. Let's see. So Bill Gates is trying to create a new type of anti-fart medicine for cows because of climate change. Okay. I really do love to see that cow, a real cow, lick his face, and then he'll think it changed his mind. So what he has created is this, and it's called the Unreal Milk, the new age dairy, and you'll see that coming into the stores now the next little while. They got the FDA passed it, or whatever, our government passed it. How many farmers are still around the Surrey, Langley, Aldergrove area? Quite a few, I'm hoping, because Bill Gates has been actually offering his money. I'll just turn this part off here for these guys for a moment. Bill Gates has offered his money, double the money. A lot of farmers are getting mailed letters from him. And they're basically, he's been, here, open this one here with that one. Okay. Yeah, he calls a cow a climate disaster. How avoid? And yeah, this is what you got to see. This guy, this is laugh make laugh your butt off. It says, Bill Gates, how to avoid a climate disaster. No, I didn't get a chance to, but he says cows are climate disasters. So what he's trying to do is anytime that he's trying to get rid of an animal, certain kind of lifestyle that we have, this is what he's trying to do. He's trying to eliminate anything that we have. Yeah. So I want to share. Let's see if this will open up. No, it won't. Oh, you're dumb. All these little pieces now are making sure I can't open them up because of the new rules of the internet rules. I gotta change the format in some of these pictures. Let me see if I can open that one. This one here. I didn't get a chance to open up these ones yet to change them up. But it says Bill Gates to stop cows from farting for climate change. Bill Gates says cows fart are one of the biggest problems. Bill Gates wants to stop cows from farting. All this, and this. And now, you know what it is? he's not even anywhere near any farm. Okay. He thinks the farts are actually the problem with the CO2 or the problem with the carbon. We are carbon. Next thing they're going to try and say, give us a pill to say we can't fart no more. You watch. Because they'll say, no, you can't fart. Oh, yeah, they try. Let's see here. Also, yeah, more freaky fake foods. I tell the farmers this. I've been actually have a chat with a couple guys that were farmers here in the Abbotsford region. I was talking to them and asking them questions regarding what their thoughts are about Bill Gates, if they actually got any letters, and they said they've heard, they have not got their letters yet, but some farmers did get letters offering them to buy their land out, and they're told some of them actually are vegetable farmers, fruit farmers, and they were asked if they're considering wanting to sell. Bill Gates would give them double the money, but they're not allowed to sell any of the fruits or vegetables. They would just have to destroy them. Not even sell any more to the stores. So basically what Gates's plan is to basically create a food shortage. That's what it is. Right now in Australia, as we speak right now, there's a gas shortage in Australia due to the war that's going on between Iraq and Iran. And they decided not to ship any fuel to Australia. So right now, all the gas stations are not open for anybody. No one's able to travel anywhere. I already knew about this, that this was going to happen. It's very similar to what's called the climate change lockdown again. They're trying to get people to use the EV cars by using fuel as the excuse of a war. And this is reason why, that's the reason why Mark Carney wants no gas-powered vehicles to travel on the land, because he wants you to focus on buying the Chinese EVs from the CCP or from China, okay? Which now he's also allowed Chinese police station, the CCP police station, now in Canada. He's allowing stations to be set up. That was nothing to do with our fuel or gas. There's nothing to do with our EVs. So he's bringing the CCP in to basically take over or try to take over our country. Now, let me give you guys a bit of a heads up. Most of you may know this story. During lockdown, 2019, during our lockdown, okay, here outside the Surrey region here in BC, the Surrey region, we actually had a Chinese Communist Party military base being built. It was being built while we're in a lockdown. Now, it wasn't being built when we weren't on lockdown. It started after we were in lockdown. What happens is that Justin Trudeau signed a deal. When he was prime minister, he signed a deal with the Chinese Communist Party to allow them to build a Chinese military base here in Canada, here in BC. Why? This is not their country. Okay? But he made a deal with China to merge into one country. So China was going to take over Canada, or China was going to take over BC. That was their goal, to start from the west coast to this way. So what China had, or the Chinese Communist Party built, the military base, or building it while they're in the process of building. They were building actually also an underground tunnel. Now, this is from my military intel. They were building an underground tunnel all the way to Washington, D.C. And during that time, when Trump was on his first presidential role, they built that tunnel all the way to Washington, D.C. And as they were going to attack Washington, D.C., they're going to actually attack the White House and go after Trump, or go after everybody, really, right? And there was apparently over 90,000 soldiers that were going to attack the White House. Trump's people knew about this, or actually got word of it. And what they had done is they were prepared. When they were ready to come out of the tunnel, they blew it up and they went gone bye-bye. Okay. Then there was earth tremors. Gee, I wonder why. Because they blew gone on. During that time, a couple years later, here in British Columbia, when you're going up the Coquihalla Highway, those of you may not know what Coquihalla Highway is, but if you do, you'll understand. Back in 2023, in November, we had apparently a mudslide that broke apart and it did some damages to some of the highway and some bridges in the middle region of the area of the Coquihalla Highway. They had a big, huge mudslide. Why? It had nothing to do with a mudslide. There was 2 Chinese submarine bases under the mountain, just like Winnipeg. 2 Chinese submarine bases under the mountain here in BC, and special unit forces came in there and they went boom, boom, and took them out. When the mountain came down and the water came up, sunk the subs, and whoever's in there, any military, gone. Now, if any of them escaped, they were going to be heading down the hill towards the flooded area of, remember guys, Hope, Chilliwack, and Abbotsford had the flood pretty bad. Well, it had nothing to do with the water table. This is all to do with the Chinese military. Okay, special forces, special unit, commander-in-chief took it over and blew them up. Done, gone. Our country didn't do anything. Our country, Trudeau nor Carney had anything to do leading these soldiers to go after the Chinese. Okay, it was our commander-in-chief took care of it. He stepped in and took care of it for us, to protect us. Okay. So you think that Carney's our leader? You think that Trudeau is our leader? Both of them are. I mean, Trudeau, the real Trudeau has been gone bye-bye since 2019. Okay. So you're watching the whole freaking movie. We have always been the 51st state for a long, long time. It was signed a long time ago. We have Canada, United States, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, Greenland, and a few more. All these countries have actually merged into one now. We've merged. We're working together. Yeah. Okay. The explosion in the mountains. That's exactly what it was. It was in the mountains because they sunk 2 Chinese submarine bases. My military intel told me this. Okay. So if you guys think that it was just a regular mudslide and no blah, 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 but the military showed up to help the guys help fix the roads after. And within a month, it was already fixed. Done within a month. Now, what happened also before the flooding came down, the military were already there ahead of time to rescue the farmers and to rescue a lot of the livestock. They already had many semi-trucks come in there and scoop up all those animals as much as they possibly can before they did the damage, because they're making sure that no one would lose anything. Also, our commander-in-chief did say, he made a promise that every farmer who ever dealt with losses of livestock would be compensated. And they were. You'll never hear one freaking story of any farmer losing his livestock during that flood. That he did not get compensated. Every one of them got taken care of. Secret money protectors. They actually made sure that you're taken care of, and they helped replace those animals as much as they could. But again, they came here for one reason: to protect this land. We don't have these leaders here like Carney or Trudeau to protect this land. Their job was to destroy the land. They're here to take out us, to make sure that make sure we suffered. And that's why I'm telling you guys ahead of times, we're doing better than most people think, because we should have been in the same place. We should have been the same. Let's put it this way. If Trump wasn't the president in 2016, we would have had Hillary Clinton being the president. She would she would actually ask for a third world war. We would have been at war with Russia right now and China, because they would partner up against our country. We would have World War III, and it would be the worst than ever. This was actually predicted a long time ago, and it never happened. You know why? Because the military, special forces, special unit made sure it never happened at all. And what happened to Hillary? Well, don't forget, folks, Hillary had something to do with BC here too, and she did some major harm here. She actually tried to also take children and women and children from this country, from the BC region, and she was shipping them out into her containers of her evergreen containers, and she was shipping the kids out to other countries. Okay, out to the Ukraine. Zelensky was pretty big on human trafficking, and so was China. Okay, big up there. I'm not kidding you. So she was making money in human trafficking, big time. So the real Hillary has been gone too. Since 2000 and was it 18 or 19? They took her out on October 31st. Gitmo. Yes, we're very lucky that Trump is in control. He is in control. Now, he's not here to control us. He's showing us. He's giving us the space. He says, here's what I'm going to show you what you need to do. Now, Trump did say last week, he says, I'm no longer going to recognize Canada's 51st state. Carney screwed it. Screwed your country by actually allowing China, the CCP, to take over your country. He made the deal. Carney made the deal because he actually was and still is. Did you know that Carney actually is still a director of the UN, who actually was a director under the Chinese Communist Party 10 years ago? Because if you look at the board meeting he had with China, he said, it's been a decade since we last spoke, okay? And then he said that he's here to begin the New World Order. Just like every other president except Trump, they all said, we welcome the New World Order, because they're trying to carry on the agenda 2030. Ain't going to happen, folks. Carney is showing you that he has to make this mistake. Why do you think he's never going to? Why do you think he never goes into Parliament and doesn't last long? He's lucky if he's there for no more than 10 minutes. He walks in, walks out, walks in, walks out, or he never shows up. So he has all his little baby libs go in there, and then wah, 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 wah. All they do is wah, wah, wah. And whenever the Conservative Party asks them questions, they don't answer them. Why? I'll tell you why. Because back in 1952, there was a law passed in government, or Canadian government, a law passed that would be illegal to lie. Illegal to lie to the Canadian people. It's illegal to lie as a government official. You are not allowed to lie. If you not lied, you can be prosecuted or lose your job. That means you can do jail time. Okay. In 2019, Justin Trudeau passed a new law. He removed it, that you're allowed to lie. Did you know that? He removed the law. Why did he remove it before he died? Why did he remove that law? Or why not lie before he was taken away? He removed it because he knew that one day, if he had to go to court, or even any politician had to go to court, that if they lied, they'd be prosecuted and go to jail. Okay. Phyllis says, I heard that the people working in the ports go on strike because they cannot stand the people screaming in the containers. Yes, now you'll start seeing a lot of container stories on TikTok and Instagram. Those people have already been rescued. Those are old films. Those were actually recorded back in 2019, even earlier. But they want you to see the original video recordings. They want you to see how come these guys aren't looking. And a lot of people that used to work in the ports now quit, and there are still some people still trying to ship out children and women to the Ukraine. The Ukraine actually is the biggest human trafficking organization in the country, in the Ukraine. Zelensky is a human trafficker, has always been. Even the president before him. When Putin heard that 3,000 of his Russian children were stolen by Zelensky, and Zelensky put these kids into these silos. And so this is the reason why Zelensky says, well, Russia went to war with Ukraine. No, Russia went down to the Ukraine to rescue his kids. Okay, all the Russian children that were stolen from Russia. So Zelensky's corrupt army, who actually are Nazis, by the way, they're a Nazi group. You'll see their insignias on their uniforms. It's all Russian. It's all under the Hitler regime. Their insignias, and they went in. They found 3,000 kids in 28 silos. in Ukraine. Now, you're not going to have any mainstream media tell you that. They won't, because they're told not to say anything. Okay? They're paid off. Even Trudeau had said, he said it on TV, that he said he paid $2.7 million or $2.8 million to CBC to lie for him, because now CBC is allowed to lie. Did you know that? He gave them permission to lie. So anytime you see CBC or CTV on TV, they're whenever they get paid by the government, they're allowed to lie, because the law was passed in 2019. So you'll see a lot of your fake reporters, your fake journalists on CBC TV, okay? And there's a lot of good people out there that are from CBC. They're good people, and they're forced to leave, okay? They're forced to. A couple of people have already left CBC because they're done. They're finished with the corruption, and even Global News. Okay, I will say Global News actually is also corrupt as well. They got paid off to keep their mouth shut. In fact, they fired one of the nicest ladies that had been in journalism. She was actually one of the top people of the. She was a director of Global News, for 20 years. And how she lost her job was because she decided to stand from a distance, but watch the protest and listen to the people saying what they're upset about regarding this one particular protest. This is during the COVID times. And I guess one of the girls recognized her, did a photo op, and it ended up on the internet, and they found it with her picture in there. Next thing you know, she was disciplined and fired. And they said she was not allowed to be there. Well, it was her day off. But she wanted to see what was going on. She didn't tell anybody that she worked for Global, but one girl says, "Oh, I know you. You're from Global." That's why there's just because one photo op got her in trouble. But you know what? She was the best thing she ever did, having to leave, because she knew very, very, very well that they actually lied through their freaking teeth. Okay. What's my opinion about Freeland? She actually is a double agent for the Ukraine. Her grandfather actually is her uncle. Her great uncle actually is one of the fellows who was recognized as a Ukrainian freedom fighter, but he actually was an SS officer in Parliament, and she was the one that brought him in. And then the guy who was one of these Mr. Speakers, I can't remember his name now, he allowed to come into Parliament, and they did a standing ovation for this man. The next thing you know, when they found out that he was an SS officer for the Germans, he lost his job. He took the hit. They went after him. It should have been Chrysler Freeland. She should have been the one that should have lost her job. But now she's actually positioned. Now, Chrysler Freeland I got photographs and pictures that goes way back in time. Chrysler Freeland actually was part of the Robert Pickton children's missing, Robert Pickton women missing. Chrysler Freeland's part of that, by the way. She's best friends of Linda Pickton. And so was Justin Trudeau. They're all part of the Pickton farm, Piggy Ranch. All the missing women. There were over not just 50 women, not even 125 women. We're looking at 15,000 women and children. There's 2 underground tunnels that came in from the Pickton Ranch. One went to Evergreen tunnel and went out to the Evergreen Evergreen docks, and the other one went to an airport, private line airport, and guess who actually financed that? Bill and Hillary Clinton. Okay, so this has been going on for a long, long time. So like I said before, there are a lot of people that most people don't know what's going on. I'm trying to give you guys a bit of a heads up to be aware of it, to know what's going to happen. But Chrysler Freeland right now, she's pretending to be, supposed to be, her position is supposed to be an advisor for Zelensky. Well, she has been a double agent for the Ukraine military since she was in her teens. She came out here when she was 18, 19 years old as a exchange student. Her job at the time was to go out to Russia and to get to know some people in Russia. And she stole some very important files. And she escaped Russia and then came to Canada and took Canadian, to protect her. And she became a Canadian citizen. And then she got into politics. And she became also Mark Carney's closest friend, which basically he became the godfather to her son. And Justin Trudeau is actually, his mother, Margaret, married Mark's brother, who also works for King Charles, or fake King Charles, who also worked for the Queen. So he was an advisor for the Queen. And so Mark Carney became, when those two married, then Mark Carney became the uncle to Justin Trudeau, married by marriage. It's all in the family, folks. It's all in the family. They're all close knit this way. They're all interweaved. We have the biggest corruption in the Liberal Party. The biggest corruption. There were some great people that were part of the Liberal Party that quit their job because they refused to lie and they refused to be part of the corruption, and they left. Okay. We have another lady here who actually crossed the floor recently, and she's actually from the who is Indigenous, actually from I could take it back in. Anyways, her son's in trouble for child, online, and so she decided to cross the floor from NDP to join the Liberal Party. Now she's in trouble. Now they're going after her for the monies that she's been spending. That's not her money. She's being chased. I'm not saying because of her identity of who she is, because this is who she's just playing a mother role to protect her son. That's what they're doing. Okay. Now I want to bring this part up. I think it's important, and that's will be this one here.
Indigenous.
Okay. I want you guys to see this because not many people know this, and I think you need to know this to give you guys a bit of a heads up. They said, okay, I heard that they would film the women and they busted a lot of computers in Vancouver. I heard that they would film the women and they busted a lot of computers in Vancouver. Oh, by the way, PM Harper is also part of the Picton thing. They're going to come collect him too someday, because he was actually seen on the farm with little girls. Yeah. Who is Pierre Poilievre's father? Don't know. I didn't look him up yet. I have to find out. I'm not sure. I'll find out. But he was adopted. Pierre Poilievre actually was adopted. Too many countries that are doing trafficking. Yeah, the countries that are doing trafficking is China, Ukraine. There are some foreign countries. No, but I can't legitimately say this. Italy was part of it too, and parts of Canada, throughout Canada. The United States is too. The United States is really bad for that, and also it's human trafficking in Australia. They just finished rescuing about 5 or 6 months ago. Like Trump, you may not realize, folks, special forces. Trump has over 1 million soldiers, special force soldiers, 1 million, and special unit. And they've actually recently, what I heard through the military intel was they had to go back to Australia, and they found more underground tunnels that go way down, way down, way more than 300-400 feet below. And they found way more tunnels, and they rescued over almost 1 million children. That actually, a lot of them were actually born under tunnels. So they're working with them right now. You guys may not realize, if you're thinking, how come it's taken so long for all this to come to the surface and get cleared and fixed and stop all these guys, they still got to clean up what's underground first. I mean, this is years and years and years and years. I mean, past my age, over 80 years, over 100 years worth of human trafficking. Okay. I'm not talking about people. I'm not talking about adults. I'm talking about children. They've been used they're used as an exchange or food source. I'm not kidding you guys. This is worse than what it is, or what it was. It's being all cleaned up right now as we speak. And it has been being cleaned up since Trump's been active. Like he did not just become president in 2015-16. This man has been busy in the military. Okay, I've got pictures of this. He's been active in the military since he was a teenager. Okay, he has been special forces, special unit in the military since he was a young man, 19, 20-year-old. Okay, And so they had him active playing undercover, not under someone else's covers, undercover. And not just him alone, a few others, special forces undercover. And sometimes they got to play the bad guy to be. I mean, let's put it this way: the FBI will get some of their own guys to pretend they're bikers, okay, to join a biking group or a club, and pretend they're bad guys, and they're going behind the scenes for 3, 4, 5 years, and they have to do the same bull crap to harm people, but they have to expose some bad people to get, to expose them. You just think about this. The same similar story. This is the reason why the military had to do the same thing. They had to make some people look bad, to pretend they're bad, but they're not bad. Okay, to catch the bad guys, because this is the worst of the worst. You're looking at satanic. You're looking at corruption at its worst. I mean, including even areas in Mexico, Colombia, you name it. All these stories you would hear from all over the world. Yeah, it was corrupt, and it's still being cleaned up. But you always hear stories of all these leaders being taken out, because they have to be taken out, because they're really bad guys. So when Iran finally had removed the leader, Khomeini, they got rid of him because he was the worst to the women. He treated them like they were just not just sheep, worse than sheep. That means the men loved their sheep. They hated the women. They covered them up so badly, all you could see is through their eyes. My wife was explaining to me that it got so bad that women were not allowed to wear perfume. They were not allowed to allow any part of their body to be seen in public, because they were told that men will automatically attack them and want to demand sex with them and whatever have you, and they can rape them all anytime they want to. And if the woman if the woman makes claim that this person raped them, then they have to go to court, and the man doesn't get convicted. She gets executed because she allowed him to rape her. What? That was the Iranian law. Okay? That's how bad it was. And everybody's going, oh, well, we need to protect the people. Iran wasn't so bad if it wasn't for the leader. No. And Carney was pissed because Khomeini was taken out. You know why? Because he lost his boy. That made him money. You know that, right? Think about it, folks. Brookfield Investments lost money. They lost billions because Khomeini's dead. Yeah, that's why. You got to remember now, folks, there's always people behind the corners. Now, I wanted to bring this up.
Just when Canadians thought justice had been served, in terms of the invocation of the Emergencies Act during the Freedom Convoy, they won 2 appeals with the government that deemed the use of the Emergencies Act as unreasonable, unconstitutional, and a violation of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Should have been a done deal, right? No, because Mark Carney and the Liberal government have announced that they will take it for a 3rd appeal. But this time, they're taking it to the Supreme Court. And people are confused. I'm seeing all sorts of videos going, why? Why would they spend good money after bad? They're wasting taxpayer dollars. Well, I want you to think about something, because this was the idea all along. Yes, it was. Now, if you've been with me for years, back to the Freedom Convoy days, I did 5 consecutive videos leading up to the convoy, okay? Even as the trucks were crossing the country, warning participants that they were going to invoke the Emergencies Act. It was part of the play. It was a definitive goal of the government to do so. Did the Freedom Convoy deserve it? No. But that's hide nor hair. You see, right now, we are in the days of Agenda 2030 implementation, and everything begins and ends with that commitment to the United Nations. Let's go back and get a little history here, because It was the War Measures Act that was introduced in 1914 as the First World War began. And the powers of that act were quite far-reaching. So by 1988, they came up with the Emergencies Act. And that diminished the powers of the government during an emergency. But it also refined their powers quite a bit. And I believe the idea of these continued appeals is actually to expand its power. And people are going, well, how could they do that? That's impossible. That's a violation of our rights and freedoms. Well, let me read to you what I wrote on Agenda 2030 Decoded today. In order to widen the scope of the use of the Emergencies Act, it's imperative to keep it within the appeal process. This keeps the issue judicial, avoiding costly public debate or reforms that might restrict future use amid evolving threats like protests and unrest. Well, you have to know that with the implementation of Agenda 2030, which has been the source of all carnage, there will be more unrest. They don't want to lose any ground with the Emergencies Act. And as I've said, they want to expand its use. Now, this also aligns with Sustainable Development Goal number 16, which is peace, justice, and strong institutions. And how do you have peace, justice, and strong institutions? Well, you need totalitarian powers. This is exactly what's going on. The courts, they are a buffer, because as long as they keep it in, they can't touch that act. That's the idea. Remember, everything begins and ends with UN Agenda 2030 and absolute control.
Now, to explain more of this to you for you folks as well, is that Agenda 2030 has not been completed, never will be completed. They're just trying to see how far they can get you to believe this. But what she had stated, I mean, I did my research as well, and what she had stated too is also strong institution. If you look at that, we're justice and strong institutions. Strong institutions means jail. Okay, strong institution. Institution means locked up in jail. Mark Carney has been trying to get this bill passed C9. Now, you may not know, there's some loopholes in C9. C9, which basically, when they didn't want the emergency war, and they're called the Emergencies Act, but it's actually called Emergencies War Act. War Act. And they're not, I don't know why they took the word war out. It was actually called the Emergencies War Act. And this is where this lady made a mistake. She did not know, but the Carney removed the word war in between emergencies and act. It's called the Emergencies War Act. The Emergencies War Act means when you're gone to war with someone, a country. And the thing is that they were not allowed to use the word Emergencies War Act on their own citizens unless we are attacking in the country itself. We weren't. Nobody was. Freedom Convoy was not there specifically to basically attack a parliament or attack a government. They were there to protest a freedom of speech, freedom of movement, freedom of peace. Okay. Carney wrote in his book that he wanted to apply the Emergencies War Act. And he wrote this book long before he became the controller of this country. I'm not going to call him leader. He's not a leader. Before he became the controller of this country. Okay. So he is using that as a ploy. And he told Justin Trudeau, when Trudeau was active, he said, I want you to use the Emergencies War Act. And he told Justin what to do, and Justin used it because Carney told him what to do. Don't forget, he was his financial advisor, because don't forget, folks, Carney loses money in a protest. Okay. He wants to control the country. He was already in controlling the country already as a financial advisor to Trudeau. And he was also doing other things behind the scenes. And that exempted him from being involved in anything. Okay. Because that's written in his contract that he's exempt, but he can get away with it. That was written in a contract between him and Trudeau. Now, what Carney told the with Trudeau, and besides that, also to the War Measures Act, he also he used it as part of Bill C-9. Bill C-9 is also, that means that they can go, if you read Bill C-9, the new one, that he can go back historically, he can go back and go after the very same people that protested and the convoy, and he can actually have them all arrested and put them in jail. He wants to go back to all the people in the past that were trying to protest or protect this, or try to basically protest and to seek freedom, that are against what Trudeau had done. That's why Carney is desperately trying so hard to, even on the third round, to make sure that they still win. They don't want to lose the Emergency War Act, because if the Emergency War Act was not accepted, that means that Trudeau would be charged for crimes against humanity, and he would charge for treason, and he would be taken to Gitmo, and Carney would go with him. That's why Carney is desperately trying to stop it. That's why. And you guys know that. Think about it. That's why he's trying to use Bill C-9, that he wants all access to all of your internet service, all access to all your telephones, all access to enter into your home without even any order, protection of order. That means that police officers can walk in your house anytime when they feel like it and arrest you if they feel like it. And they don't even have and they're not even police officers. These are policy officers working under Carney. A police officer, when he swears to the king, not the people. He's there to protect the king and to protect the people that represent the king. They're not there to protect the people when you swear in. Listen to the swearing in. It used to be that you protect the king and the country. They're not protecting the country anymore. It says to the king. Listen to the swearing in, the ceremony that's changed. They changed everything. Okay. Now, Sabine's asking for martial law. Martial law is coming very quickly. Okay. So they're desperate. You're right, Sabine. They're desperate. They know time is up. And okay. Also, the Pacific earthquake, such as a recent part of the cleanup? Yes, it is. Okay. Q drops indicated saving Israel for last. In your opinion, we are close. Well, we are part of Israel. Israel. Okay. Is real. Israel actually existed also in the United States. Okay. So we Israel, and this is, like I said, when they said Israel are going to take care of Israel last, well, that's what we're doing right now. This is the biggest stinger. June, the month of June and the month of April is going to be, you're going to see some things happen, folks, but I want to give you guys heads up, please. Do not get scared. Do not get stressed. Do not be hard on yourself or fear. Whatever they decide to use to make you feel unsettled, because you look at all the people that are in spirit here, they're going back and forth. I love it when this person here in spirit likes to stick his arm out from behind me. Where are you? Over here. You keep on doing it all the time. There's the guy over here on this side in spirit sticks his arm out to this side. I see a white arm coming back and forth to this room. You'll see it. Watch carefully. He likes to do that. Spirits in my room here with me all the time, and they love to help assist me. Thank you. See, there you are. You see the guys? Pretty cool. Oh, you haven't seen it. Wait, let me put you on that. Let me see. I'm going to show you my screen. Let me show you on the computer. Watch the computer. Okay, watch the computer. Do it again if you guys can do it. Bring that white light through for them to see another screen. Please, come on. You guys did it before. Keep going back and forth. But I get a person with an arm or a point that come back and forth in here all the time. There you are. Hi. Nice to see you. Nice to see you guys. So I get spirits come in my house all the time in my room, and because I work with them all the time through spirit, and they give me guidance, so that they help me a lot. It's really cool to do this, having to have to work with these guys all the time. I got three. I run 3 screens in my studio. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's why I'm so busy. So, but if you don't get a chance to see it on Facebook, go back to my YouTube page and have a look, and you'll see the spirits walking back and forth. They'll either come out in an orbital way or start bringing white light through the wall. I had a client I was doing readings for about a few days back, and I was just from camera to camera back and forth. Hello. And he would come through to, and this one, it was a complete arm, like look at an arm, like one arm length, full length arm, and waving to us between him and I and the camera. That's what they like to do. People like the spirit likes to talk about. Spirit likes to work back and forth with us all the time. They'll run their arm back and forth in the room and go wave back and forth, because basically what you see on my right, on my right side actually is a wall. So nobody can stick their arm out through, like physically can't stick an arm out through from a wall. So in the spirit world, that's what they're doing. They're making contact with me all the time. That's why I'm able to communicate with them so well. And they come visit. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. Okay, so are the Pacific earthquakes, such as the recent one, Tonga, part of the cleanup in the dumps? Yes, it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Anytime you hear of thank you guys, they're running up and down. Oh, you guys got to see this. I feel so bad that you guys can't see this. Hang on, let me get the camera. Oh, let me bring it this way. I'm gonna go that way. Whoops. Bring it over here. Let me move this over here. Swing this over here. Watch the screen and watch me there, and you'll see from Facebook. You'll see on the left side of the screen, that way, you'll see the arm coming out through the side that way. There. As I'm talking. Okay, let's see what we can do here so it won't be so dark. Look at the light. And you'll see the arm coming through. Yeah, they'll come visit one time. They'll come back and forth here, back and forth. They like to do that. Anyways, let's go further. I'll talk about the earthquakes. Yeah, right now we're still dealing with DUMBs everywhere, and they're still cleaning up what's there. Now, not everything is a DUMB, because basically these are dark tunnels. There you go. Come down over here with the doll. With this, actually, my new puppet. I'm working on him right now, finishing him off. Guess who I am? Guess who I am? Yeah. So you're talking to me? Yep. Okay. Anyways, yeah, working on that. I'm working on my puppets too. Let's work over here. There we go. Okay. Derek, how are you supposed to make a living when there's martial law happening? They're not going to take your life work away from you. People are worrying about that. Martial law means they're going after the bad guys. Martial law is to protect you. You can still get a job, still be working. It's not where they're controlling you. They're just making things better. They're helping improve your lifestyle better. Basically just to protect you. And where none of this garbage is going to happen anymore. This is what they're trying to do. Stop all this garbage from happening. That's all it is. It's just trying to protect. And things will improve. They have improved now, but see, our money, like the cash that we're making, like the cash you see on TV, there you go. The spirits are running back and forth here. The cash you see in your hand is actually signed by Con-Carney. Has been like that for years. And they're removing cash out completely because basically it's non-legitimate. But basically they're going to change it, not always using everything digital. They're going to actually we're going to go into the gold standard. Gold standard means that your bills, your money is going to look like kind of goldy in color. Okay, be goldy or silvery in color. And that's called a gold standard. So what I understood is going to be a lot better than it once was. And it'll be hugely improved. That's what they're working on right now. There you go. See spirits come through the wall. See the light on the on your left side of the screen, folks. They like to come through. They love me a lot. It's dark outside, but they can still come through. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you come visiting. Yeah. Pretty cool, eh? Even the back screen. Trump is signing the new US dollar notes. Not sure which one. These are probably the ones that he's talking about, but it will relate to all of us too. Thanks. See, they're bringing out the. See, I like that guy who brings out his arm right over here. Thanks. Nice to see you. So, yeah, he's signaling us right now on the screen that he's here. He just loves us. I'm breaking out right now. My hair standing up. I know his presence is in the room. Yeah, but they're really nice people in the spirit world. They like to help and be part of it and participate. So they're kind of bouncy. Meaning Federal Reserve is done. Yes, absolutely. What's happening? Like we're going back to silver and gold, the real income, the real standard, the real silver and gold. We're going back to, the metals, the metals itself. It used to be years ago. I mean, let's go back to the pirate days, folks, back to 16th, 17th, 18th century, where what was the main thing that most people carried on their person was actually gold and silver, mostly silver at the time. That's why you had such a great amount of anybody who was rich, they would have lots of silver tea sets and silver plates and, that sort of thing. Or they would have copper. Thank you. They would have copper plates, copper pots, which was very healthy for you. They would use copper a lot for your health. And then it went to gold, that sort of thing. That was ongoing all the time. So it was like pretty well, it was very healthy. Now, later on in time, people used to make fake gold coins, and they would actually use copper shaped like a coin, and they would pour like a gold plating on it. And you'll see anytime in a movie, for example, if you see somebody take a gold coin and bend it between their two teeth, well, that tells you it's a fake gold coin. And that's what they would do. So, yeah, that's so this time here now, it's changed. They're not going to allow that to happen. No more fakery, no more loss of money, because so many people even today are trying to still make fake 20s and fake 50s passing, even for Canadian dollars. We should not been able to have anybody be able to replicate fake money, but they're still doing it. They're still replicating money. Our Canadian dollar, which it shouldn't have been, because I don't know why they don't do or why they're doing it, but they are. Yeah. It's and people are saying, oh, be careful, make sure you check your 20s, check your 50s. Nothing smaller, just more like the bigger ones. So they're telling people to be careful. This person's having a lot of fun sticking his arm out through the wall. Nice. See, guys, you see that? Isn't that cool? Yeah. So as I'm talking, they keep talking. They keep moving in to see how far they can reach in. Yeah, to talk to me. Hi. So yeah, that's what happens. What do you guys think of my ghost that comes into the wall? Now this is a wall here. It's a solid wall, but they like coming through and making and passing through. They just wave to you guys. They're just waving back and forth. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, my visitor's been here for a long time. I've been seeing him go through the front door, and if I'm in the office, it comes from the wall, other side of the wall through here. I'm waiting for the day that he can start wrapping in the walls and the ceilings like I have before. Spirits are playful tonight. Yeah, hello, spirit from Linda. They aren't they playful? They're cool. See the whole arm coming through the wall. They're reaching in. Like I said before, a few days ago, I was doing a reading for a fellow, and we're talking back and forth on Facebook back and forth, and he noticed the arm coming out of the wall and really solid looking, and I said, oh, relatives, family coming through. Somebody else come through and talk and be playful. So I get this all the time. They're always playful with me here. Well taken care of. They love the energy in this room. It's comforting, playful, never harming anyone. Yeah. Yeah. You guys are having fun with me. I'm just sitting here watching. I'm not doing anything. So Okay, and we also got Linda says we also got Q drops indicated. Okay, blah blah blah. Okay, earthquakes. Catherine, no more baked beans or cabbage that those who wish to not to toot. Billy Boy Girl Gates needs to start playing cow patty bingo. Yeah, it's true. Let's see here. Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia is close to white hats and Trump. The new Crown Prince is better than is the ones before. This one here is a better guy. They're working together as a team. There's not, it's really hugely improved. I mean, everyone's working together, trying to work together now. Like Trump said, I'm not a man of war, a man of peace. And he's trying everything he can to keep the world from having a war. Because it used to be for generations, years and years and years and years, hundreds of years, all people knew was to fight and to be at war with each other. All they wanted to do was to, they figured money makers was actually having to kill people, or the more money you land, the more money you make. Well, that's not true. The more money, it's actually, they're just trying to take over. Perhaps my spirit wants to say something. Well, it's not that. They like to say hi. They do. They like to visit to get attention. They do that all the time. So this is the second time he's being very playful. Yeah. But he knows real well that he's not here to harm anybody. He's just saying hi. Like, I'm here. Hello, I'm here. Hello, So if I wave at him, hi, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Yeah, nice to see you. Hi. So when I put my hand up, he doesn't put his arm up, but he'll just wave by. But if I put my hand away, then he'll come out and stick out again. So I'm not trying to touch him, just wave to him and say, hi, how are you doing? To do that with him. They're pretty cool. Okay, what else we got here? Let's see. Hi, Derek. What do you think of the plane crashing into the fire truck in New York? Is it a fear tactic, or are they trying to distract us from something? Yes. Here's the thing. They said 2 pilots died, but they did not mention their names. Did you know that? They showed the pilot, the plane tip upwards, and they said that there was a fault of the people in the tower. And then here's the crazy part. When they said that, then the mainstream media was picking not on the people in the tower that made a mistake, if it was supposed to land properly. They went and picked on Trump again. Oh, it's Trump's fault. Trump's fault. Trump's fault. Like, Trump had nothing to do with it. They're trying to find, and then they started to, like, they're always looking for an excuse to pick on somebody else, pick on Trump. And I said, guys, Trump's not controlling the airport. And yet they say, oh, well, if they were a Democrat, none of this ever would have happened. What? So they're trying everything they can. But again, that airplane that crashed is a red flag. Okay. Yeah, right. Sabine is right. It's a red flag. Because how do we know? Here's one thing I'll get you guys. How do we know that actually that was a real plane crash? Because it didn't show that it crashed. They're showing you a scene that it crashed. They're showing you smoke. But they didn't say the pilots. They didn't never mention the pilot's name that died. Yeah, something's not right with this accident. No, but they didn't show you. But they're showing you indicators. Look at the plane. Okay. The plane said Air Canada crashed. Air Canada. That means our company, Air Canada, is in trouble. Okay, there's an investigation with our company in Air Canada, because Air Canada actually belongs to Vancouver. My wife used to work for Air Canada back in the 80s. She worked there for 8 years for Air Canada. But the people that work working with Air Canada now are not the same as they are now, because Air Canada now is not the same. They're not. There's something going on now. Maybe there's something about them that's suspicious. Maybe something needs to be cleaned up, or somebody knows something about Air Canada. Right? They don't have an official picture of the pilots in uniform. No, they don't. They don't. That's the thing. They never mention the names of the men that died. Not one. They would say, well, normally they would say immediately say, well, Captain so and so and so and Captain so and so. Not one. They just said two of the pilots died. That was it. Silent. I knew then they're not going to tell you. And oh well, we need to protect their name. Bull crap. Every other investigation, whenever there's a plane crash, you always mention the pilot's name, saying, I'm sure that you're doing the investigation. They don't want to release it, but they're still a pilot. They're the same. They're the pilot that actually flew the plane. Does that make any sense? Right? It doesn't make no sense, folks. Absolutely makes no sense. So I'm just bringing that up. I just have to bring that up for a reason, right? Yeah. So he likes to stick his arm up for a while and keep on bugging us while he's there in the room. Okay, they let people, soluble guessing because there is another pilot with the name Mackenzie Gunter working as a pilot for Porter. If you look up Mackenzie Gunter and look up Porter and see how they're connected by any means of something else, they could be under investigation. They could be involved in something we don't know. So that I have a very strong feeling, because when I saw that plane crash, or not plane crash, but I saw the plane that looked like it's crashed, and they said it's crashed. There's something fishy about it. Like I'm saying, there's something. I would say it's too fishy. It was didn't make any sense. It really didn't make any sense. And if you guys remember too, anytime there was ever a plane crash, most of the time we ever had a plane crash, there's always somebody very important that was in that plane that died, or they wanted to take out. So I've heard those stories before. For example, there was an Air India was the same way. Air India years ago crashed, which I already know who actually was involved. And we have a politician that was involved in that crash. Okay, he was one of the people that actually was involved to crash it, but he got pardoned and became an NDP leader. Go figure that one out, folks, here in BC. We've got people that are part of ISIS living here in Canada, and they're pardoned living here in Canada. We got like I said, we got major corruption here living here in Canada, and they've all been pardoned. And who pardoned them all? Trudeau. He pardoned them all. He's part of it. See, I'm getting a ear tone. That means when I said pardoned, that means there's something suspicious about this. They're raising my energy up to the next level. So Spirit's trying so hard to come through. They really love to visit you guys. They're saying hi, hi, hi. Okay, no other video footage from passengers. No, there isn't. They're not allowed to say anything or do anything. Normally people would do a video before the crash or do a video coming off the plane. Not one of them were allowed to even talk about it. In fact, they were even told to be avoided, to avoid being interviewed. I got the feeling these people were actually called crisis actors. Okay, crisis actors or central casting. Okay, listen to Trump. If you hear the word central casting, you already know. You can also see the CEO of Air Canada and the woman in charge of the tower communications are trembling and white as a wall. Yeah, and because they know who's in trouble, and she's probably part of it. Okay, there's something going on, and I got a funny feeling that very possibly there could be something happening under Air Canada, the building itself, and they're distracting the plane crash to feel sympathy of saying, oh, well, these poor people, blah, blah, blah. But there could be something here in Vancouver under Air Canada, because we got brand new airports out here. So just like Detroit, you know how big their airport is. Also the way the plane is damaged. Yeah, the way it fell, it doesn't make any sense. I never heard of it pointing like this or like that. I mean, it was really weird. I know what planes are like when they crash, and that didn't make any sense. Not at all. I mean, how can the two pilots die and the whole front end didn't burn? And they're wearing seatbelts. How can the two pilots die when the front end was not damaged? It just nose down. Pilots both look trans or one of the alphabet letters. Yes. And who were the occupants of the fire truck? They said it was only people, but since when are there only 2 people in the fire truck attending as first responders? Normally, your fire trucks are supposed to be, and what I understand, I had a friend of mine who actually works for the fire department. He told me that you have to have 4 per vehicle, four fire people and attendants, especially if you're going to for the front end and the back end. So there has to be 4 in attendance. So if there's only 2, that means, and there's no other fire anywhere else. So that means that somebody was screwed up. I watched right when it happened, and they said pilots live. Yeah, but you know what they said on TV? The pilots were both died. Now you tell me the difference. I'm telling you guys, when they said the plane crashed and they said both pilots died, they didn't say they were alive. They said both died, and on impact. So they published the names now and the 2 fire truck staff drivers. Yeah, see, now they're covered. There's a cover up here. Absolutely, I'm not kidding you guys. A cover up. When was the woman thrown from the plane, still strapped in her seat, told by her daughter? Who was the woman thrown from the plane, still strapped in her seat, told by her daughter? Are you kidding me? Really? Who was the woman thrown from the plane, still strapped to her in her seat, told by her daughter? Her daughter said her mom got thrown from the front plane, strapped to her seat. Okay. Yeah. They changed the story. Of course they did. They had to change the story. They're protecting somebody here, or people here. Because like I said, but the first indication of, I got the original recording of it, of the plane crashing, and it says both pilots died. Now they're saying that both pilots made it. They lived. It doesn't make any sense. So unless they're replacing the pilots, okay, as in like the 2 pilots may have died, and then another pair of pilots is going, oh, we're the ones that flew the plane. The flight attendant was ejected 300 feet from the plane, still strapped to her seat, and survived and walked away. Yeah, because this is where her daughter told the tale, saying her mom got flew bye-bye. Like she got, like, how did that seat get flown or thrown out of the plane? Right? Doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. Like one seat, one chair, one seat, gone, and the rest of them are all still there. But mom got ejected, and she, a funny thing, the mother can tell you exactly everything that's going on, what she had seen, and what it was like, what she went through. I would love to interview the daughter or interview the mom and see what it was like. Also, the original recording of the tower control tower or tower control was available right away. Yeah, and yet they said, like I said before, they even blamed Trump, and they're blaming other people. They didn't blame the tower. They did not blame the pilots. They're blaming the people outside the system. Now they added recording saying they removed the nose. They removed the nose. You know what, folks? Listen to this. When you work for the airlines, what's their noise? What's the first thing you do when you go to a plane crash? What do you go look for to get the proof what really happened? The black box. You need the black box. Every plane is required to have a black box. Get the black box and listen to it. I thought the jump seats were at the back of the plane. She was up all night and watched it. Really? You watched a lot, Sabine? Oh my God, girl, you good for you to see it. Not everybody gets to see that sort of thing. I didn't see it myself. I mean, I got a recording of it. Let's see if I could find this one, the recording. I have it here somewhere. Where'd I put it? Let's go look for that plane. Where'd I put it here? Or is it on my site? No, it's on my page. Yep, it's on my, might be on my Telegram. I have my Telegram page. Now, I'm going to let you guys know this too. When you get a chance, go onto my Telegram page. If you've never been there, I have Telegram. I have a page called True North Strong and Free. You're more than welcome to join. Download the app if you haven't been on there. But join my page, and you can see all the news media that's going on that I've been sharing from all across the world, even local here. And also, I also have a Rumble page, which basically after the show's program is done, recorded, and I actually will add some extra features to it. And you can actually see and rewatch this program if you missed a lot of stuff from the beginning. Okay, it's worth your while. Please like and share this whole thing. As I find it's very important for people to share it because most people have no idea what's going on. I know a lot of people really don't want to know what's going on, but you know what? You need to find out the truth, folks, because one day you'll be approached about it. One day, maybe, it's this way. When Carney passed Bill C9, we've already had the police coming to people's doors already in Ontario, telling them if they don't stop commenting about Carney, that they're going to go to jail. Now, here's the thing, folks. Nobody was threatening Carney's life. They're just making comments, right? But the police officers now are coming to people's homes and telling them, if you don't stop talking about Carney, you're going to go to jail. Well, guess what? I can talk about anybody I want, and so can you. They're using this to scare tactic you, to keep you silent, so then Carney can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and get away with anything he wants. That's why he made that Bill C9. So he can get away with the door, and he can take as much money from this country as much as he wants. Don't let them get away with it. Okay? The flight attendants sit at the back of the plane during takeoff and landing, don't they? No, the flight attendants are actually in the front where the pilots are. That's where they sit, not the back. If there is, depends on the amount of passengers in the plane. There is the odd one flight attendant in the back, sitting next to another person at the very back. But most of them are up front, on seatbelts. When they're still in flight, they're on the floor serving drinks and serving whatever, peanuts, popcorn, you name it, whatever they want to serve you. And then from there, when they're ready to land, they all strap down. Everybody does. I'm trying to find out if anybody in Peterborough knows this young pilot. What, you talking about the Air Canada one? I would say, who would know that young pilot? Look up the person's name first and see if there's any kind of anything they've done from the past. Look up the news media a little bit. So just write their first and last name and see what happens. Just say Air Canada, name of the person, first and last name, and see what happens. And you might get some results. Yeah. And same thing with Air. Yeah. You might get something else out of it. And just say, type the first name, first and last name, Air Canada, and then say the word crash and or corruption. Just throw some figurative names, words in there, and see what happens. And just say or corruption 2020s. Don't use 2026, and see what happens from there. You'll probably find some other stuff. Give you a whole list of stuff from Google or from whoever wants to put it out. I would say try to use. Let's see here. Yeah. Try to down, if you don't have Brave as a search engine, try to use Brave as a search engine, and then do your research. You might get a better chance to find more information than just Google. Give it a shot. Okay. Yeah, so Linda says her daughter told the tale. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, folks. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the program. I really appreciate, I went a little bit over time, but I just wanted to share this with you. And I really appreciate you guys coming on and being in the chat room. Hope you guys enjoying the spirit coming out through the wall here and waving back and forth and for a little bit there. And Whenever you see the light coming up a little bit brighter, then he comes through. See how the light gets lighter? When it gets bright light, then he comes out and say hi. He wants to say bye to you guys. So say bye to him, and he'll look forward to seeing you guys. Pretty cool, huh? That's how when the light turns on, then he comes in, waves by. Okay, well, thank you guys for being on the program. I really appreciate your time with me. Please like and share the program as much as you can, and let everybody else know that enjoy Shadow Chasing Show and myself as Derek White Sky Cloud. Been doing this for a lot of years, and I really, like I said before, trying to do as much as I can information to share with you guys what's going on. I'm not trying to bring you guys down and make it depressing. I'm here to show you, to be aware of what's going on in this country, and just be prepared for it, to hear what's going on. And you can actually say, no, I'm not going to accept this sort of thing. I don't want this to happen. So Spirit hangs out with me. They're saying everything is good, just don't worry. Right? Tell them that. Anyways, take care, guys. We'll talk to you then. Take care. Bye. God be with you all.